Fuad Hasan, Neil Atkinson talking Reds. What do you think of Cesc Fabregas?
Great, yeah. He loves the Reds, doesn't he?
Loves the Reds.
Yeah.
Great fella.
Yeah.
Got a sense of humour. I've got to quiet myself down. I often forget to do that bit. All the hits, you know what I mean? I'm very pro Cesc Fabregas. Cesc Fabregas calls Tchouaméni the complete midfielder. The complete modern midfielder in his views. He plays with him every week at Monaco.
Amazing. I mean, if it's coming from him, then it obviously carries weight as a man who knows midfielders.
And modernity.
Yeah, and modernity, exactly. I'm excited. The noise seems to be ramping up on this.
Isn't it ramping up this morning? I've noticed a ramp up this morning as well. A lot of people, a lot of figures being bandied about. There's a lot of specificity around 42 million.
Yeah.
Not 41, not 43, not 40 and not 45, 42 million.
Which means it's real because that number can't just be plucked out. That's come from somewhere.
Plucked out of thin air. I'm excited about Tchouaméni.
I am.
In a way that normally, like at this point of the season, if people were linking and doing transfers, I'd be kicking off a bit.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because everything else is amazing, but this feels as though it's a live thing.
Exactly, and it's nice when there's those moves where you know it's obvious that we need a midfielder, and the club share that view, and it all feels like it all makes sense and is a logical sort of profile, logical move for this manager, and also for what this team needs going forward. I think everything about it seems perfect, and if he is the complete midfielder, that's what we're after. That's what we're in the business for. Neil.
We're not looking for incomplete ones.
Exactly.
We're looking for complete ones.
There's no room for incomplete ones.
We're looking for modern ones. We're not looking for historical ones.
Exactly.
This is who we are and what we're about.
Exactly.
We like our footballers to be contemporary wherever possible, maybe with some stylings in there as well. We'll see. We will keep you abreast of that as it comes right the way through. We've done an overview this morning with Rob Gutman. He's currently in the other room doing FA Cup memories as we speak. At some point we will return him to the gutter, but the games are coming too thick and fast, and he's glad of not being covered in the filth for a brief period of time. My God, the man deserves to be covered in some filth today, but I think I've got a resolution on a matter. More on that to come privately for some individuals. But anyway, Fuad Hasan, Neil Atkinson, both of us going to Villa Park later on today. Pick me a team.
It's hard, this one. I've been listening to some of our shows and going through them.
What's the the press conference as well? I thought the press conference was interesting too.
Yeah, he didn't give much away, did he, really? And he was, he pretty much has everyone back. So that sort of helps things a bit from that point of view. I have a feeling one of them gets rested in terms of the front three, the two in the front three, Mane or Salah. I don't think they both play. I don't know what it is. I said yesterday to you in the preview, I have a feeling this is Jota's game. Just because he needs one, he's due one now, where he gets back in and he gets back into goal scoring, and we could all sing a song for ages and have a lovely time. And I feel like this is the one where it may suit him a bit because of his movement, because of how he is in the air. I don't think Villa's defence, that's probably their weak point, the centre halves. Yeah. I think Gerrard thinks that as well from when he's gone in. Neither of them two look very comfortable, and I think they're also without Courtney Howes as well. So that is a little bit of a weak spot where I think we can kind of get in behind them and cause them a bit of trouble. And I think Jota's the one to do that.
Are you nervous?
I was a bit, but I think when you're going, you sort of back up. I listened to Ian Ryan on the Free Show yesterday as well, and he got me excited. That sort of backed me up again. I think everyone was feeling a little bit flat. And it feels, you kind of feel bad for feeling flat, don't you? Because they've drawn at home to Tottenham.
But I want to feel nervous, because the point is that I'm into the I am nervous. Yeah. And the reason why, if it didn't matter, I wouldn't be nervous. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's why I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I've woken up really nervous. Nervous and excited. I firstly can't wait to go, but also secondly, this feeling of, I think they could really, they could win well as well. Yeah. I think if they score first and score early, I think they could win relatively well. But the flip side is there's a universe where you get bogged down. Ollie Watkins is a problem for us. I think he's almost perfect to play against us in a really weird way in terms of his skill set. He's got a lot of things that we don't like. Boss sticking it in the back of the net. I'm just quite. I don't know. I'm like, God, this is significant. This is for me. This is a big right now, and I might feel different on Saturday, and I reserve the right to do so. But for me, this is a bigger game than Saturday. If you're guaranteed winning this one on Saturday, I would take this one right now. Exactly. Saying if I could name the scoreline within reason, like 43-0. I'm not allowed to name that one, but I'd love an emphatic Liverpool win today.
Exactly, and I think I think I'd be slightly more nervous if City had played last night and we were going into this. I think the way the fixtures have come round maybe changes that a little bit. Yeah, there's also that thing there where they have
Matthew Ross has given us 10 quid to buy ourselves a pint with later on.
What a guy.
Matthew, that's really kind of you, and thank you. It'll be a nightmare getting it out the YouTube system and split between me and Fuad, and we'll go in a different way. The admin, I'm just overwhelmed by Matthew in my own mind, but it is very kind of you indeed. Go on, you were saying.
What a guy. Yeah, they'll have positive memories as well, won't they? The Villa players, because they've gone and beaten us there last season emphatically as well. And I think all of that with the fans does make it a potential banana skin. I know we've said that for a lot of games, but I don't know. The one thing you could say about this Liverpool side and under this manager, which is incredibly impressive, is the fact they don't, barring last season, they don't let results get them down. They don't drop points in 2 consecutive games very often, or sort of put on 2 performances that are not as to their top level in 2 consecutive games. And I think there'll be none of that tonight. That they would have got over that. The manager's the right person. If anyone in the world could get a flat dressing room right for this, it's this manager. And I think they'll be totally fine tonight.
Yeah, I'm of the view. I think tonight a victory is so important because I think it keeps City honest in both of the next 2, not just in one. You see West Ham's record at home this season against the top sides. No. So they got beat in a mad game against United where they missed a mad penalty with no hopes last minute. You remember that?
Really funny.
They also weirdly lost a really tight game to Arsenal.
Yes.
Apart from that, they beat Liverpool, they beat Chelsea, and they beat Tottenham.
God, okay.
As you go right the way through, and I think they beat Wolves as well, who were the next team below them. They are good. They've lost to everyone. They've lost away. So when everyone at the top, they've lost away. They also knocked City out of the League Cup. So.
They need something as well, don't they?
They need something. I'm very live. I don't think it's just about... So I think everyone who's decided, and I think that, if you're one of these people, you are a coward, but take the new information on board. I think that if you've decided that basically Liverpool need Wolves to do something for certain, I'm not sure. I think Wolves can. It's not to talk them down. I think Molineux will be up for it. It'll be a good night. But I'm not of the view it's Wolves or bust. I think that West Ham can most definitely get something from the game against Manchester City. The only thing that the Spurs result does for me, which I think is obviously bad, is it means that City can go onto the pitch and know a draw's all right.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case, and so that scoreboard pressure. So if they're 80 on the clock and they're level with West Ham, I'm sure they'll be in the ascendancy, but they haven't got to overcommit.
No.
They can have the idea of, we'll just keep you in your box and go from there, because that doesn't kill us. And that's the thing that the Spurs draw's done in terms of the wider league picture. But I'm of the view that we win tonight, then City will know that they need to get results in both of the next 2.
Exactly, yeah. It just is all about keeping that pressure, because we can say everything that we said about the mentality of both these teams, to be fair, and they've proven it right in 18-19 and before and after that as well. But you just never know when it comes to these pressure things. I think one thing with this whole sort of game by game mentality and how both managers have spoken about each game, especially Jurgen, each game being a cup final, we forget how draining cup finals are and how draining that mentality is to go into each of these games. Not physically necessarily, but emotionally, what you have to do before the game to sort of get yourself in that frame of mind during the game as well, keeping the cool and going to all these places away from home as well. And you just never know how that can play on individuals and individual moments. And you talk about West Ham, they've got players who are capable of hurting City in individual moments, more so than Wolves do, I think, at the moment. And you'd back them to sort of take chances if they get given them. And this City side have shown that they can give them. They have been involved in a lot of games where things haven't gone as plain sailing. There haven't been the mundane sort of routine wins like they had been earlier on this season. So the potential is there, especially with these 2 teams.
I think the thing then for tonight, it is the pressure of Liverpool have got to go and get it done. I think the manager's been seeing the game, so there'll be a lot of people wondering about priorities between this one and Saturday. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think he'll have looked at the 2 games that are Saturday, Tuesday as their own challenge. So there's one Saturday, Tuesday, which we're halfway through, which is Tottenham leading into the game against Aston Villa tonight. And then there's another Saturday, Tuesday, which is the one which starts on Saturday against Chelsea, and then the Tuesday is Southampton. And that's how I think he'll have looked at it. You mentioned before about Jota. I think, for instance, Naby Keita starts. I think Joe Matip starts. I think they'll have picked one of those 2 for each of them. But I think that's more the mentality. I think what happens tonight, it'll almost be like he gets everyone back on Wednesday, assesses everyone, and then he works out the next Saturday, Tuesday. That's what I think.
Exactly. That's the sort of the space he's in now, and that's the only way he sees to deal with it. Look, there's obvious things when it comes medically that they will, this manager will not put players out there, if they're not 100%, not just because of how he is, but how the demands on these players going out there. And I think today's one where they, like you're saying, they would have had it 2 moves before in terms of who they'd like to come in and who they want to come in fresh. I think that's the main thing, because players have been used off the bench and things like that. But I think there's a clear thing with who they want to come into this to be the one that can sort of add that injection of energy, to be that trigger in midfield, for example. There's always one of the 3 midfielders, isn't there, that is got the responsibility of being the mad one, going all over the pitch, pressing. I thought Henderson was sort of that in the Tottenham game, and I feel like Naby Keita, this game is for him. And I think if he plays the way he has been playing in previous games, you know, he'll add that bit of injection of energy into that front three and all over the pitch. And I think Villa will sort of struggle to deal with them because they wouldn't really face anyone quite like that.
That's what I think is interesting with Villa's midfield. He played someone else, the lad's name I've forgotten, next to Louise against Burnley, and then he had a little bit more in front in terms of McGinn. For me, I think that Keita, I expect him to start tonight. I think he'll start tonight with Henderson, with Keita and one other. Don't think Fabinho will start. So I think it'll be Henderson, Keita and one other. I think it could be that one other could be Thiago, that one other could be Milner, that one other could be Jones, that one other could be Chamberlain. I wouldn't have thought it would be Elliott, because I think we would have seen a little bit more of Elliott. I think it's less likely to be Chamberlain than as I've just mentioned. There's a possibility that he throws Jones in. But for me, tonight's a Naby Keita game, 100%. I'm really looking forward to watching him, and I think the way Villa play will suit Keita down to the ground. I think part of why he doesn't feature against Tottenham is I think the manager's decided when he looks at Tottenham and Villa back to back, he's decided, right, that Villa game is a Naby Keita game.
Yeah, exactly that. And like you're saying, the midfield that Villa have, you know, as good as they are, they don't have the same sort of authority in terms of taking control of it. Obviously, you know, whoever Liverpool play in that midfield, you'd back them to be the ones that, you know, dominate the ball, dominate that area as a whole. They are great players, the individual Villa midfielders, in terms of breaking forward and breaking the lines. But when they have something to deal the other way, you know, that's when question marks get raised. And I think Naby Keita's the one to get in between the lines, to sort of give McGinn a bit of a problem, when to go, when to stay. Yeah. I think that's a bit of a thing. Douglas Luiz will suddenly feel very isolated if that becomes the case, because you'll have three other forwards to deal with who are all, you know, mad in their own way. So I think Naby Keita's the one, not just in terms of his performance, but how his performance can affect the others on the pitch and how he can sort of provide spaces and options as well for, you know, for the likes of Mo in terms of bouncing the ball off him and little things like that. The combination play is going to be really important.
It is indeed. Listen, everything you need from the Anfield Wrap before this, me and Fuad did a preview video yesterday as well, which is worth watching by virtue of the fact that...
Not for the footy chat.
No. Live. A bird basically shits on him from the sky. I heard it more than saw it, and that should tell you a story about how emphatic it was. It's honestly £10 a month. You can be part of this sort of thing. Honestly, £10 a month for surprises from the sky for Fuad Hasan. It does not get bigger or better than that. Everything you need on top of that, other things as well. Mentioned an overview before. Loads of cup final build-ups already started being worked upon. That's why we're a little later with Talking Reds today as well. We have t-shirts. Here's the Alisson Becker one. That one's good. Here's the Diogo Jota one. You can buy that one after he scores tonight for the mighty boys in red. Although I do think he's began to look really rather tired and a little bit rusty, but you can't do it every single time, can you? What else have we got for you? We've got a live show coming up in Liverpool at Montford Hall before the final league game of the season, the Saturday night at Montford Hall. Yes, it will be. It's worthy of the oof. A Saturday night for us all to gird our loins for and get stuck into before the final league game of the season. And we're in London on the 9th of July. All of those tickets are available. Check out all the Anfield Wrap social media for all of that sort of thing. This has been Talking Reds today. Fuad Hasan, Neil Atkinson. I, for one, am excited. I, for one, am nervous. I, for one, know that there is a league still to be won here.